Hey guys, welcome to the Snap. Now today we're going to be previewing 2021 rookies, and we're going to kick it off with none other than Ja'Marr Chase, the LSU Tiger, in the historic season with Joe Burrow alongside Justin Jefferson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He was a 2020 opt-out, and so this name, for some of you, the more casual fans, might be forgotten. You might be overshadowed by guys like Devonta Smith having a great year and others. But Ja'Marr Chase is a little bit forgotten about, so let's bring you up to speed. We're talking about a 6'1", 208-pound receiver who only played in up until his sophomore year, sat out his junior year, so he's technically considered a junior for the upcoming season. Some accolades for him: he was a first-team All-American. He was the LSU single-season touchdown record holder and the Biletnikoff award winner, which is basically a standout wide receiver at the collegiate level, and he won that award over guys like CeeDee Lamb and Michael Pittman Jr., some elite company there given the season that CeeDee Lamb had as rookie season. I'm your co-host Mac, as always, joined by my boy Lando. Lando, you're the stats guy here. Break us down what you like about our boy here, Ja'Marr Chase.
Breaking out at the age of 19, Ja'Marr Chase had over 1,700 yards and, like you said, the 20 touchdowns for LSU. Now, like you said, he had Joe Burrow throwing 60 touchdowns that season. That is pretty crazy. But I love Ja'Marr Chase. He's one of my favorite wide receivers coming out. He had 36 targets for over 20 yards, 24 receptions for 860 yards. That is crazy. His depth of target was amazing. His average for his 2019 year was 21.2 yards per reception. That's phenomenal. There aren't very many wide receivers in the NFL with that kind of average catch. The only one really is MVS, Marcus Valdes-Scantling from the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, wow.
He is phenomenal. 3.5 yards per route run, which was 5th in football in 2019. And he had the best yards after catch in college football. He led the NCAA in yards after contact with 411 yards after contact with 23 broken tackles. This guy is phenomenal. I cannot wait to see him in the NFL.
Yeah, fantastic. And jumping over to some film study, really the bulk of the analysis here, what we saw that we liked about Ja'Marr Chase and things that we think that he can improve upon as he heads into the NFL. So let's start with his size. As we mentioned, he's 6'1", depending on what sources you get, and 208 pounds. He's a freak in the weight room. Guaranteed this year that he's taken off, he's been training hard, working on his craft, and hopefully getting a little bit bigger. So we'll see what the NFL Combine brings for him. But for his size, he's pretty quick, an unofficial 4.40 time, which when we compare that to probably the highest in his class, DK Metcalf was what, Landon? 6'3", 6'4", 228, ran a 4.33. I mean, that's tens for size and speed. So Ja'Marr Chase ranks a little bit behind DK, but plays much larger. His agility is a spot for me that, just noticing some of his film, some of his routes looked a little bit laggy. Some of them he stalled at the line of scrimmage, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So his agility is on the poorer side for me, especially off the line of scrimmage. But physicality, unbelievable. This guy is aggressive. He finds a way to create space for himself. He powers through a lot of contact. Like Landon said, yards after contact, number 1 in the NCAA. And then his athleticism, basically a combination of the 4 metrics above, had him at an 8.5 out of 10. So you're looking at a guy that's pretty physically gifted and should test quite well at the Combine. Not anything off the charts, but pretty well-rounded. Now, for me, his biggest weakness is his release. Off the line of scrimmage, there's a couple times he gets jammed up. Guys like A.J. Terrell, who he went up with. And that's the thing about the SEC. There's a ton of NFL caliber corners in the SEC, and Jamar Chase basically got the better of them in almost all matchups. But he did struggle when he got pressed and jammed at the line. Guys would get physical, they get their hands on him, and sometimes he stalled out and got thrown off his route. So for me, that was a negative. But when given space, a really polished route runner, really quick and explosive coming off of breaks, and you'll see his route running is at an 8. Hands are a 9, really, really good. I did notice that on a couple throws that were thrown behind him, he did struggle to secure a couple drops there, but that's something that can be certainly polished when he gets into the league. His jump ball is fantastic. You're talking about a guy that tracks the football really naturally, goes up and wins a majority of the time, and can high point the ball. This guy is really special when it comes to that. And a lot of people will say about Jamar Chase, because of his athleticism, his vertical leaping, and his just natural ability to track that football, especially at the high point, he plays a lot bigger than 6'1". So this guy really, as a contested catch rate, is fantastic. And then lastly, his body control, kind of going with that jump ball ability, controls his body really, really well, especially through contact. So I was really impressed with what I saw with Jamar Chase. And his weaknesses, just going back, are things that can be coached up at the NFL level. So I'm not too concerned about Jamar's weaknesses.
Mac, that is some great film analysis. I'm going to go with some comparisons right now. I am projecting Jamar Chase to be an alpha wide receiver in the NFL. So my best comparable is going to be a guy like Amari Cooper. What I like most about this comparison is really their size and the fact that Amari Cooper broke out at such a young age. Amari broke out pretty much a year earlier at the age of 18 as a true freshman. I know Jamar was a little bit behind, but the way he broke out projects to be what we love for wide receiving prospects. And being around the same size, the 6'1", give or take, 210-ish pounds, should be running around a 4.4 40 time, which will be about 90th percentile for a guy his size. This is the guy I like. Now, what I like more about a guy like Jamar Chase is his deep ball catches, where Amari Cooper catches closer to the line of scrimmage. And Jamar Chase kind of can do it all. He could run in the slot. He could run jet sweeps. He can go on the outside and catch those deep balls. He's got the extra speed, the boost at the end once he gets those balls. Like Max said, always looking for extra yards, has his head on a swivel, making sure he knows whenever there's defenders around him. This is what I like most about Jamar. He's also kind of similar to a guy like DJ Moore, in my opinion, too, around the same size. Really good yards after catch. That's what I like. And compared to DJ Moore, those two guys for me is what Jamar Chase comps to, in my opinion. Mac, what about you?
Yeah, I think the Amari Cooper DJ Moore is a pretty good starting point. I'm picking a guy that from a physical nature doesn't profile exactly the same, but play style I think is very, very similar. And I'm going with Antonio Brown, which might be very bold for some of you. And I get it. But here's the reasons for me. I'm not saying that he's through and throughout Antonio Brown. I'm saying that when I watch him, I see glimpses of what Antonio Brown is or was. I'm talking about a guy that's really competitive. Like his competitiveness is almost off the charts. When he gets the football, his run after catch is dangerous, especially in open field. And he's very physical. He has a little bit of dog in him. He's nasty. He plays bigger than his size. And Antonio Brown played a lot bigger than 5'10". Jamar Chase plays like he's 6'4", 6'5". He's really, really special in my opinion. So just that dog, that refined skill, that physicality. I see a lot of Antonio Brown in a guy like Jamar Chase. And I expect Antonio Brown will probably be a future Hall of Famer. I think Chase has that upside too.
Hey, that's some bold statements. Now, finally, I do have Jamar Chase as my number one prospect coming out. He's similar to what I guess Amari and DJ Moore were. They're all going to get drafted within probably the top 10 in this year's NFL draft. The big question marks around him for me is he missed that year of school. And we like players that showed their production most recently. And I do believe, like Max saying, that he is working his butt off to make sure he's in peak shape for the NFL draft and the NFL season. He had no reason to go into school. He already proved he's a dog. He's a stud. And Like I said, he's my number one coming out, and I'm excited to draft him. Well, it'll be interesting to see where he lands in the NFL draft. But either way, I'm willing to take him in all formats as a top 5 option in fantasy football.
Hey, that's good, man. And going along with Amari, he in the 2015 draft went 4th overall. So we'll see how far Jamar goes. I think he'll probably go around 5 or 6. That would be my guess. A meeting with Joe Burrow would be so nice.
Wouldn't it?
Would be amazing. He's also my wide receiver 1. He is, I think, as good as it gets. I know some people will say, what about Devonta Smith? We're going to have a video on Devonta Smith. It'll be in the library. Check us on YouTube. But for me, he is the wide receiver 1. I just think the edge for me, and I'm going to explain it right now, Jamar Chase is 20 turning 21. Devonta Smith is 22 turning 20, or 22 turning 23, or 23 turning 24. We can vet that real quick. But there is an age difference. There is a breakout difference for them. Devonta Smith broke out when he was arguably a senior. Jamar Chase broke out as a sophomore. So a big difference there. I get a little bit of a boost, a couple years there with Jamar Chase, and I think he's a better prospect overall. And so that's why he would be my wide receiver 1 going into 2021. As always, if you guys like the video, please consider subscribing to the channel or leaving a like or a comment down below if you think some of our player comparisons were a little bit out of this world. If you agree with them, let us know in the comments below what you believe, and stay tuned to the channel. We'll be having a ton of rookie content throughout the off season. Let's get ready for these Dynasty leagues, guys, and 2021 redraft for Mack and Landon. We'll see you in the next video.